the British government pinning its hopes of economic recovery on more small businesses becoming exporters, the agenda at Exporta's UK Trade and Export Finance Conference in Birmingham was dominated by the issues facing SMEs.
We're seeing there's a lot of demand for export products. The problem that we've got is that it's being held back by the lack of finance. Now that could be the banks, it could be the way the exporters actually present themselves. But most of it is being driven by companies that are using their own funds because they're retaining the funds, because they haven't got the confidence in the banking sector to say we need more funds for investment. So therefore, that is holding back the growth.
It's more challenging now than it ever has been in the past, but there again, we're a larger company than we were in the past. But circumstances change, and as they change, then obviously the attitude of banks change. So now we've just come through a world recession, and banks have been well burnt within that recession. So one, I suppose, can't blame them for being a little cautious about accepting unsecured risk.
But rather than laying the blame solely with the banks, there was recognition among delegates that if they're to succeed, companies need to improve too.
So the understanding of contract, the understanding of finance as means of exporting and selling your product is generally not a mainline concept of the UK SME exporter. If you ask him what does he do if there is a force majeure clause under his contract arising, what does he do under his contract? Generally he won't know. He might not even understand what force majeure means. So we have an education problem here.
Perhaps more than ever before though, there are alternative methods of financing available for those struggling to tap mainstream sources of trade and export finance.
We've considered using peer-to-peer lending. Obviously mezzanine and merchant borrowing, yes, we've considered that as well. As well as that, there's a lot of funding available now. There's the Regional Growth Fund, there's the European funds.
Well, ThinkCat is a peer-to-peer lender, which means that we allow private investors to lend directly to businesses bypassing the banks. So we're doing exactly what banks used to do, and in the way they used to do it in the traditional days, when you used to have a bank manager in your cupboard, and we employ a group of former bank managers to go around and do the vetting and get to know the businesses.
The market niche, as we see it, is that lying between £100,000 and £10 million, which the commercial banks do not wish to deal with because it is economically inefficient for them. At a pinch, they will deal with that on a relationship basis with companies that they know well. We reject this, and we deal with each transaction on a transaction basis.